Welcome back. From Cape Breton, it's Saturday night. And today, we're diving into some old stories of the paranormal. So if you're ready, sit back, relax, and enjoy. But first, let me take you back to last week. Where was I? Why didn't I record? Why didn't I upload? Well, here's a little down low on the high point of my week last week. I took my bestie to Halifax, the capital of the province of Nova Scotia, where I live, for her birthday. It was so fun. Maybe next time I'll take you guys along and actually vlog it. But I'm kind of glad I didn't this time. It was just us and we had a blast. Mind you, I probably could have gotten some really good footage. And some of that footage, maybe I'll sneak in right here. So if you want to see some of that stuff that we got up to, make sure you flip over to YouTube if you're not already there. So if you are listening to the podcast, anywhere you listen to podcasts, make sure you follow and like this podcast, rate it, whatever you need to do to help me grow. I truly appreciate it. If you have flipped over or you're already at YouTube, you find yourself here but you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it. All of those things really do help, and I do appreciate it. As a small content creator, I am just trying my best to grow. So again, I will pop that footage in and enjoy.
That's what I'm talking about. There's some CCI.
Is only 7 degrees today. At the very back of the vessel, we have our 75-person inflatable life raft. Again, in the case we need.
All right, we are now approaching Citadel Hill. We'll be going to the very top today. Citadel Hill is the 6th most visited historical site in North America. You're right, it has never been attacked. Do you know that it has been conquered once? This was back in early 2000s. A woman from Ontario, who I think was encouraged with some liquid courage, decided to sneak past the guard, take down the Union Jack that we're passing, and replace it with a gin pennant, which is a flag with 2 martini glasses. Hers was hot pink, in which she was swiftly kicked off of Citadel, banned from Nova Scotia. Soldiers were tired, they were given a plot of land. Now this gentleman had 11 children, and he only got that whole plot of land you see right there. And in order to house all 11 children, he created this 5-sided house. Alright, and this site here is St. Mary's Basilica Church. It has the tallest freestanding granite spire in Canada. I'll actually point it out to you later over on the harbor. It's really cool, you can see it. St. Paul's Anglican Church. Now I mentioned earlier that it survived the Halifax explosion. There's actually a little spooky ghost story. If you go on the other side, you'll see a silhouette of a face, and rumor is we've changed the plane so many times, but it keeps on coming back. So if you go up on the other side and you walk in and you see a face, it's supposed to be the priest or the pastor here. Do we want a big splash? I think that's a
Yes.
no. Yes.
Yes.
A
Yes.
medium.
Big one.
We have paper towels, don't worry, guys.
It's hot out. We'll dry. Yeah.
Woohoo! We're in the harbor. There's also cows. Notice beside it is the tall ship Silva. We actually own this boat. If you ever want to do on the water beer gardens, that's where we host them. But the stairs are here to represent both high and low tides, so they're like a visual representation. As Acadia. Now, this Acadia ship is really cool. It actually survived both world wars, and it was in the harbor during the Halifax explosion. It's now a part of the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, and you can actually go visit it. I think they're still doing some repairs for the summer season. However, right beside it, you see that building that has all the nautical flags around it? That is the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic. Highly recommend it. It has the most collection of wooden artifacts from the Titanic, a lot of stuff from the Halifax explosion. There's all Dimmy Ridge had already happened. The harbor is full. We have our regular traffic, we have the military traffic, people coming from Europe for rest, people leaving here to bring supplies to Europe. And there was a big curfew here, so you couldn't enter the harbor unless you couldn't enter the harbor after.
Okay, so if you've seen that, you enjoyed it, welcome back. We are going to, like I said, dive into some paranormal kind of stories. There's one in particular that is well known in my area, and that is the story of the witch at Brook Cemetery. Let me set the scene for you. Brook Cemetery lies between Myra and Port Morion. It's kind of in the Homeville area. Brook technically is the little community it's in. It's a non-denominational cemetery established in 1842 and sits alongside the North Atlantic Ocean. This cemetery, why it's so well known for the witch, is there's folklore stories all over the place about this. When I was a teen, we would hear the rumors and the stories that if you drove the D, the letter D, backwards, and I'll explain what that means in a second, 3 times a headless horseman would come appear and chase you out of the cemetery before the witch got you. So let me describe what that D kind of thing is. As you are driving this rural highway in the area of eastern shores of Cape Breton Island, you come to Brook Cemetery. And it's like a small road driveway, really, off the main highway. You turn in and it's this main driveway into the center of the cemetery. On the right-hand side are newer burials, and on the left-hand side are the very old burials. Lots of beautiful large trees, maples, beech, poplars, some evergreens. Unfortunately, Hurricane Fiona last year took out a lot of these large trees, which, it was devastating. Some of the headstones are overturned or uplifted. Anyway, if you guys want to see that, make sure you comment, and I would be really, really excited to go and film a full investigation and post that on YouTube. So you drive into this cemetery, like I said, newer on the right, older on the left, and there's like the 2 main sections, but those 2 sections are divided into 3 parts. So there's like little side roads off or little alleyways off the main road, kind of dividing these sections. The story went, as you drove in, you would then take the left-hand side. So you drive all the way to the back of the cemetery, which is alongside the Atlantic Ocean. Then you would swing to the left and you would come all the way around the outskirts of the left-hand side of the cemetery, and it would naturally curve back and meet that main driveway. That would form the letter D backwards. So you would drive that D 3 times, or technically I guess that would be like an oblong circle or something, 3 times, and then as you reached the driveway on the 3rd time, a headless horseman would appear and chase you out the main driveway back to the highway, because that 3 times around would trigger the witch to wake up. When I was in my early 20s, so I'm dating myself here, but that was over 20 years ago, friends of mine and I went out to the cemetery one night, probably late, like after midnight, and decided, yeah, let's see if this actually works. So we drove the D, I think twice. The 3rd time, we got a little creeped out. So we didn't fully complete it, so nothing really happened. But I don't know who decided that it was a bad idea to continue and finish the 3rd D. I don't know if it was me or somebody else. I can't remember. But I do remember getting that deep gut feeling that, oh my goodness, we need to get out of here. Like, there's something wrong here. It could have been the creepiness of the hour. It could have been that, maybe it was foggy that night, because along the North Atlantic, it does get pretty foggy often. It could have just been the people I was with. I don't know. Like I said, I can't remember. But I do remember that gut feeling. And that has never left me. I have yet to be in that cemetery for any period of time, for an investigation, for a look around, for anything, without somebody with me. I think I might have driven into that cemetery once or twice on like an out for a Sunday drive kind of thing by myself, but I don't stay. There are 2 other cemeteries in that same area. They don't feel the same at all. I've been to those many times. But Brook Cemetery definitely has a different feel. You can look on Google or YouTube, look up Brook Cemetery, Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, and you will see other paranormal investigators investigating that area. So last night, yes, just yesterday, a friend of mine and I took a drive out to Brook Cemetery. It was roughly 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, so just dusk time. We could still see the sun hadn't set fully, so there was still some daylight. It was very foggy. It was roughly 9 degrees Celsius along the Atlantic, and it was damp. There was slight rain in the air, and the chill we got. We did get out of my vehicle and walk around, not very much because it was bone-chilling cold. And we were not prepared for that. There's one plot in the cemetery that looks like a tree stump, and it is the grave site of a wife to a sea captain, and that grave site is right along the Atlantic Ocean. Then there's another grave site that is encased in iron gates. And I have a little story about that. But we walked past that, and it is in need of repair probably after Fiona, I would guess. I haven't been out there since the hurricane. And we went towards the woods on the far side of the old part, on the left-hand side of the cemetery. Because the story is, the witch that is in Blackbrook Cemetery is buried in the woods. Because she was a witch, she could not be buried in the main part of the cemetery with the other people or the other burials. So we went and we just walked along the road and peered into the woods. We didn't go in to the brush or anything. Like I said, we weren't prepared to be fully investigating. But we only saw one headstone. It was for a man, a 41-year-old who had lost his life. So I took out my spirit talker on my phone and I started a session on the spirit talker. And a few things did come through, and three things that did come through that were very odd were words in Latin. If anyone has ever seen that before, please comment. Let me know. I've only been using the Spirit Talker app for a few months now, and I've never had Latin come through. So when we got back to civilization, back to the city of Sydney, we were able to get data again because there's really no data service out there, no cell service out there. And we looked up some of these words. And it was quite interesting. One of the last words used wasn't technically Latin. It was just a word I'd never seen before. And nice butt. And that made us laugh. Like, why the heck, through the Spirit Talker, would a spirit say? Anyway, so spirits can be funny too. And ending the evening after being in such a very ominous location. Now I'm going to share with you a story from back in the year 2001. This story, I will preface, is true with no exaggerations. This is a story first person. I experienced this firsthand. So one evening, me and two of my friends, one BFF and one acquaintance, were out driving. I was the driver, my vehicle. And we were out, it was a January winter night. And we were driving around just basically shooting the shit, having our coffee, being girls, and not really getting up to much, just really aimlessly driving. And we were out relatively close, about a half an hour away from Blackbrook Cemetery. And I hadn't been back there since that first initial with the three friends in the vehicle. And so we really didn't have anything to do. And the three of us were like, should we go to Blackbrook Cemetery? It was coming on midnight. And we decided, yeah, let's go. Let's check it out. We were feeling all like full of ourselves or something and brave. So we headed out to Blackbrook Cemetery. And as I started driving out towards it, for each kilometer, or for those of you in the US, or a mile I drove, increasingly my stomach started to ache. I started to feel nauseous. I started to feel anxiety. I started to feel all of these things. My gut was saying, don't do it. Do not go in that cemetery. You need to go. So I'm kind of pushing this down, and I'm still going. And none of us are really talking. We're not saying much. Everybody's pretty quiet. And as we approach the cemetery, we're only a kilometer or two away. And as I approached the entrance of the cemetery, I slowed down. And I looked at my bestie that's sitting beside me in the passenger seat. And the only words that came out of my mouth were, I can't do this. and I started to drive past it. And as I drove away, I'm driving in the direction of Myra. So if you go into Google and you look at a map on Google from Port Morion to Myra, I was driving towards Myra from Port Morion. So as I passed the entrance to Brook Cemetery, which would have been on my left-hand side, I saw something, I heard something, and I knew I needed to go. Before I tell you what I saw and what I heard, I need to tell you that right in front of me, about 200 feet, 300 feet from the entrance of the cemetery, is a single lane bridge. That was a single lane bridge in the year 2001. It's since been improved to a regular 2-lane bridge. However, when I passed the cemetery, I knew this bridge was coming up, and in order to pass over this bridge, you must, assess whether another vehicle is coming the other way. You can see that fairly close to where the cemetery entrance is. As I pass the entrance, and again, the three of us are not conversing, I see these iron gates at the front of the cemetery, and they're open. And I hear, "I told you, bitch, I'd be back." My best friend heard, "Go, get out of here." And the other person heard, "Please come back and help me." All the same tone, all the same voice. None of us said anything to each other until we were far past this point, by the way. So I saw the iron gates and I heard that message. And then I saw her flying out of the cemetery and coming after my vehicle. It was the witch. And I'm telling you, it was the scariest sight I've ever seen. If I can describe what I saw in kind of like Hollywood theme description, so you really get an idea, it looked like Medusa was following me. Her hair was scraggly, looked like snakes flying. She had a wicked looking face. She was almost at the rear end bumper area of my vehicle, hovering over the road about that height. And she was coming after us. And I stopped. I stopped the vehicle right at the bridge. And my best friend then states, first time she's spoken in probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes. She says, "What are you doing? You need to go, you need to go, you need to go." And I said, "I will. I just need to wait." So the witch is just about to tag my vehicle. She has her arm out. She's just about to reach it. She's just about to grab us. And I knew if she got us, if she touched that vehicle, it would be bad. I didn't know exactly what would happen, but I had the feeling I couldn't let her touch the vehicle. But I really wanted to piss her off. I'm a little antagonizing that way. That's maybe not a good thing to be when you're interfering or interacting with such a being, but I knew this would really tick her off. So I also had this message, this feeling that she couldn't pass the bridge. So I waited until she was just about at the bumper, and then I floored it. And I went straight over the bridge, and she stopped dead right at the bridge. And I'm telling you, the look, when I looked in the rearview mirror and I could see her just hovering in a standing position, floating there, looking, grimacing, like, I could feel her energy, and I knew I had to drive fast. Because if she figured out a way around that bridge, we were done for. My heart is racing just repeating that story. My eyes are teary. Okay, so we passed the bridge. We're driving. None of us are talking. I am driving fast. These are windy roads. If you've ever been to Cape Breton Island, you'll know what I'm talking about. The roads on this island are fairly windy, meaning you come to a bend in the road and you better slow down or you're going off. So if you're ever coming to the island as a tourist, this is a little PDA, slow down. Seriously, slow down. I don't want to see anybody hurt. So I'm approaching these turns and I'm slowing down for the turns, and my father taught me to drive beautifully, by the way. So I slow down as I approach the turn, and as I'm cresting the turn, I'm hitting the gas again. I'm coming out of that turn at high speeds. And we're out of there. We're gone. And we get to the first road that takes us completely off that highway and back to the main highway. And I travel down that road like a bat out of hell. And when I say that, I'm probably going about 80 kilometers an hour, which is technically the speed limit. But it felt like I was a bat out of hell. And my friend, the girl sitting beside me, then sees somebody walking on the side of the road. It's not the witch. It's an apparition. And we're in an area that's known as the Devil's Pass. That's a story for another time. We continue on, and we get all the way to the main highway. We travel the main highway, we get back to the main city, the only city on the island. We get back to my best friend's house. Her husband, my other friend's husband, they're there. All the children are in bed. We go down to the basement to decompress and to debrief ourselves. And as we're sitting on the cold basement floor, it's unfinished, we start talking. This is when we start talking. This has been about a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes since we've been past that cemetery. So we start decompressing, and that's when I learn that not only did I see the gates and hear a message, but my best friend saw the gates and heard a message. Different one, as you remember. She heard the please go, please go. And then the other girl heard the other message. And then we compared the tone and the voice and everything, and it seemed to be very similar. Although, like, mine was definitely very aggressive. My best friend, it was a very pleading, you need to get out of here. And then the other girl, it was very, pulling you back kind of tone. So we discussed this, and that's when we realize, wait, if I saw the gates and you saw the gates, then there must be gates. But the other girl didn't see the gates. So then we were confused. And I saw the gates open, and my friend saw the gates close. So then we were really confused. So we didn't sleep much that night. I went home, I came back the next day, and all of us, the two men, my two friends, me, all the kids, we pile into 3 separate vehicles, and we head out to Brook Cemetery at the daylight time. Mind you, keep this in your frame of reference. It's January. There is snow on the ground, okay? So we head out there. We get there. We pull in. And both me and my bestie, who saw the gates, realize there are no gates. They do not exist. We go to the front of the cemetery where the gates, we saw them. We saw these large 8-foot high cast iron black gates. And we look. Did they take them down? No. There are no posts in the ground. The snow was not disturbed. So where the hell did these gates come from, and where the hell did they go? The only explanation is that they were paranormal. We go into the cemetery and we start walking around, and we find the gravesite of Lilla A. McDonald. Her whole gravesite is clad in the same cast iron gates. The same decorations on the spindles. And we look at the door to the little plot for this person, and we see a date. Now, off the top of my head, I can't remember what that date was, but it was 1800 and something. And next time I'm out there, I will certainly make a point of reading it again. But there's only a date on it, which would be the day or the year of death. And as me and my friend stood there, recognizing the cast iron, knowing it was her, showing us the gates, both of us knew she wasn't there. Her body wasn't there. This was an empty gravesite. But why would a community or a family build such a beautiful plot for one person on the old side of the cemetery, dated for 1800 and something, and make this beautiful cast iron fencing and gates if her body wasn't there? Only to find out through our own experiences and through a little bit of investigation at a local, my university's, like, I don't know what they call it, an institute of heritage and history. Find out that Lilla A. McDonald was a child. And she died on the road that took us back from one highway to the other, in the woods. And we found out through our own experiences, through gaining messages, that her body was somewhere near the apple orchard, and it was never found. She was roughly 7 years old. This is not something I can prove in documentation. It's only through messages we've received. But my friend and I are very connected. She now lives in another province, and I haven't seen her in years. But we feel each other's energy. We always have. And that is the story, at least partly, of Black Brook Cemetery Witch. My personal experience. I really do want to do a full investigation out there. I want to find out exactly what this witch is about. Maybe if you guys want, we can do it together. I can post it on YouTube, and you can let me know if there's anything I'm missing. If I post, the EVPs and stuff like that, you let me know, because that would be something that would be very much up my alley. I know a few people that I can tag along to keep me company. That's it for this week, at least the first tale I can tell you. I do have a number of paranormal tales, personal history, personal experience. And of course I can always share anecdotes I find online. But I like the personal side. like giving you my own, experiences. And I hope you enjoyed it too. Again, if you're new here, make sure you follow the podcast wherever you find the podcast and you're listening. I truly appreciate it. If you're finding me on YouTube and you're new, you just found me, make sure you subscribe. All of those things really do help out. And as I said at the beginning, I am a new creator. I am very small in numbers. So I really do appreciate everything you guys are doing to help. For those of you not in Canada, you're in another country, welcome. That's so exciting to me. I see it in my stats and it floors me. It floors me that anybody's listening, to be honest. But it really makes me excited and want to create. So I hope you'll stick around and I hope you really enjoyed the paranormal side of things. And if this is the kind of thing you're really into and you really want more of, you make sure you get my numbers up. So I see that this was really entertaining. Okay, well that's it for me this week, guys. Take care. See you, friends.